When you hear lyrical scansion being talked about in terms of musical theater, you probably think about things like proper word emphasis and accenting, because that's all that scansion is, right? Nope. It goes so much deeper than just making sure that words are being emphasized on the music the same way that they would normally be spoken. You have to take into account the intentions of the characters, your intentions as the writer, the subtext, and a whole host of other things that could potentially scan across a lyric. But if you're able to piece it together using the science of scansion in a way that feels cohesive and makes sense, then your audience's minds are going to be utterly transported and potentially even blown. What makes it a science? This is all based upon how the subconscious mind picks up signals and patterns while the conscious mind is doing other things, like it's distracted, it's over there. Okay, maybe it's not fair to say that the conscious mind is distracted, but it's probably overstimulated trying to process a whole host of information, while the subconscious mind is taking in all the rest of it and sifting for things like the patterns. Our brains are built to recognize all sorts of patterns and to take that information in, sift through it, and either add to the foundations of what our conscious mind is doing or kind of pair things together later while processing. Think about driving. You do not consciously pick up on every detail that is being perceived by your brain as you are driving, or else you would get overwhelmed and you wouldn't really be able to do your job. Instead, the subconscious mind is taking in everything, but the conscious mind is processing what needs to be processed to perform the task. And if we really want to go there, we can use that same example and say, hey, have you ever had that thing happen where you've been driving from one place to the other and then you reach your destination and you wonder how the heck you got there because you don't remember actually doing it? Yeah, sometimes the subconscious mind is so good at pattern recognition and doing things while your conscious mind is distracted on something else that it can actually function your life without you being consciously aware. Oh. And it's this that we can tap into with our musicals when we are writing with good scansion. My friends, it's powerful. Don't sleep on this. All right, first and foremost, let's talk about character intentions. The intent of what is being said affects how it is being said. And because the intention affects how something is being said, it affects the way that it's going to fall out of the mouth in terms of things like the emphasis. Now, if the emphasis changes from what you would normally expect, then you can use that when setting the lyric to music. One of my favorite examples of this comes from Next to Normal. It's the song Hey Number One, which is pretty fun because these two are really quite awkward, Natalie and Henry, and they're having a conversation that feels very awkward, and words are being chosen very, very carefully. There's a lot of pausing. Hey, hey, I've missed you these days. I thought you might call, right? Like, ooh, did it? I thought you might call is how we might say it, but we have, I thought you might call. It's been weeks, right? Like, between the pausing and the way that the words are falling emphatically, the way they're being accented. Clearly, Henry's trying to be careful with the way he words his questions here, right? So, hey, have you been on the scene? 'Cause you look like a mess, right? We don't really want to say the thing yet. So that caution is coming through, and that intention there changes the way that the words are falling out of his mouth. And you can hear that directly on the melody. Another example I really like is from Some People, from Gypsy, in the I Have a Dream section. Mama Rose is using this music here to kind of like butter up Papa, try to get him to give the money, right? We have the whole... I can't actually play all the notes here, but this beautiful, I had a dream, a wonderful dream, Papa, all about June in the Orpheum Circuit, give me a chance and I know I can work it, I had a dream, right? Because she's trying to get something out of him, make it sound beautiful and magical and wonderful and really kind of manipulate him into giving the money. It sounds... I had a dream. Against that idea of all about June in the Orpheum Circuit, give me a chance, I know I can work it, I had a dream. That manipulation tactic, it changes the way that the words fall out on the music. Another great example is the song Send in the Clowns from A Little Night Music. In here, Desiree is really trying to hide her sadness while still making the point that she's making. And the way that the words fall out here, isn't it rich? Are we a pair? Me here at last on the ground, you in mid-air. Send in the clowns. Isn't it bliss, right? These words on their surface sound like they should be providing some sort of joy, right? But that's not what the song's really doing. That's not the intention here. Isn't it rich? Are we a pair? Me here at last on the ground, you in mid-air. Send in the clouds. Isn't it bliss? Oh, right? The way that the words come out actually gives you a sense of the sadness she's feeling, not the joy that just the words alone would give you a sense of. And all that kind of leads me directly into the idea of writers' intentions and how they change the scansion of the lyric. And my lyricist friends, this is where you get to join with the composers in creating the subtext. You are a part of the subtext. Congrats. The author's intentions for the piece and for the characters is a large part of what affects the scansion so that the audience can receive certain information or have certain takeaways that they walk away from a song with. To go back to the song Some People for a moment, Mama Rose in the beginning here is not really trying to hide how she feels about people at all. So really the setting here is to provide the audience with a sense of who Mama Rose is through her opinions of other people who are not like her, right? We have some people can get a thrill, knitting sweaters and sitting still. That's okay for some people who don't know they're alive. Right, we don't actually get the insult until don't know they're alive, but some people can get a thrill, knitting sweaters and sitting still. That's okay for some people. Before we even say who don't know they're alive, we get like, oh, yeah, you don't like them. You're saying this with venom. The writer intentions are also part of what give us the difference between the sections that the baker and the baker's wife sing in the song It Takes Two from Into the Woods. Even without the music part here, we have the baker's wife with this, you've changed, you're daring, you're different in the wood, more sure, more sharing, you're getting us through the wood. And there's something about that that automatically has a sense of like, surprise and admiration and maybe a little attraction to it as well with the word choices. Now contrast that with what the baker is doing, which sounds a lot more like he's learning and actively processing. It takes two. I thought one was enough. It's not true. It takes two of us. You came through. When the journey was rough, it took you. It took two of us. Right? Even without the music. But then you go back and you add the music in, and you can hear that subtext coming through even more clearly, right? You've changed, you're daring, you're different in the wood, more sure, more sharing, you're getting us through the wood, right? That against the it takes two. I thought one was enough. It's not true. It takes two of us. You came through. When the journey was rough, it took you. It took two of us. Very different senses. Okay, so we've done character intentions and writer intentions. Now I want to talk about scanning across section elements. Now, what do I mean about scanning across section elements? Such a good question. Thank you for asking. Don't forget that the majority of songs in musical theater are in some way an argument, a thesis that's being proved. If not, then they're some sort of game, right? Arguments, theses, they have different pieces to them. You've got a setup, you add more information, you provide an opposite, right? There are tactics that are often utilized as well. And when you build those into a section, if that section then repeats with different words later on, you still have to maintain the same flow of the logical argument that you had in the first section. I'll give an example, don't worry. Similarly, if you're playing a game song instead, you're gonna have places for still different tactics, or for landing jokes, or for raising stakes, or for providing opposites. You kind of create a little template for yourself in a section, and when that section happens again with different words, we still have to stick to the intention of the template. And we already kind of know this, because what is rhyming spots if not this exact thing? Rhyme is a scansion element. And so when you have an A section and you have rhymes on the end of lines 1 and 3 and a different rhyme on 2 and 4, great. When in your next A section happens, you gotta do the same thing. Lines 1 and 3 have to rhyme, lines 2 and 4 have to rhyme, or else it doesn't scan the rhyming across the sections. So hopefully this helps here in understanding what it is I'm saying. And that goes for things like purposeful assonance, purposeful consonants, alliteration, anything that is wordplay or associated with wordplay or word elements. Anything you build into the template of a section really should happen again the next time that section happens. For a quick little example, if we look at the AABA 32-bar chorus that is "Till There Was You" from The Music Man, you can hear even across just a few lines here this idea taking shape. We've got this: there were bells on the hill, but I never heard them ringing. No, I never heard them at all, till there was you. If I were to then just say the words and not sing through the second A section, you will still hear where things scan. There were birds in the sky, but I never saw them winging. No, I never saw them at all till there was you. Okay, our hook goes in the same spot. That's a given. We don't really have much in terms of rhyme here, not within the sections, just across them, right? We're scanning so well across the sections that the rhyme isn't just within being repeated, the rhyme is actually across the sections. And that is, never heard them ringing, never saw them winging. So also we have heard and saw. So we're talking in the first section about the things we hear. Bells on the hill, but I never heard them ringing. No, I never heard them at all till there was you. There were birds in the sky, a visual, but I never saw them winging. No, I never saw them at all till there was you. Really great scansion from one A section to the next. For example of a song that is a game and raises stakes and still uses the same template as it goes through, one of my favorite examples is A Little Priest from Sweeney Todd. In our first section of playful wording, we have, it's priest, have a little priest. Is it really good, sir? It's too good, at least. Then again, they don't commit sins of the flesh, so it's pretty fresh. It's the first half of that section. Now, once Sweeney's on board with the game, the next section that starts similarly but different is lawyer's rather nice if it's for a price. Or something else, though, to follow, since no one should swallow it twice. Anything that's lean? Well, then if you're British and loyal, you might enjoy Royal Marine. Anyway, it's clean. Though, of course, it tastes of wherever it's been, is that squire. Right, so this whole idea of the playfulness of, what if it's this profession? And if it's that profession, what are some fun things we can pun with that are silly and fun and weird and gross, because we're baking people into pies and doing it by profession, apparently, right? So as the stakes of the game raise each time, and we get closer and closer to the not only sillier sorts of things, better wordplay, shepherd's pie peppered with the actual shepherd on top, anyone, but also get closer to the thing that Sweeney really wants, which is the beadle and then the judge, right? It gets higher and higher in terms of stakes, and this is why it makes for a good Act 1 closer, even though really, it's a game at the end of the day. And then for one that's more about the word play, less about the game itself, there's still a game to it, it's a game song, but the way that the scansion works across the different choruses here of this, I believe it's an ABAC here, is you're the top from anything goes. Not written for the show, but is used in Anything Goes. We have you're the top, you're the Colosseum. You're the top, you're the Louvre Museum. Your melody from a symphony by Strauss. Your Bendel bonnet, a Shakespeare sonnet, your Mickey Mouse. When the next chorus starts, we have a very similar feel. We have you're the top, you're a silver dollar, you're the top, you're an arrow collar, you're the nimble tread on the feet of Fred Astaire, you're an O'Neill drama, you're Whistler's mama, you're Camembert. Right, we have the same general set up to the way the thing is being played with the wordplay, right? You're the top, you're a thing. You're the top, you're a thing that's kind of related. Then you're these things with some wordplay and internal rhyme in there, and then you're a 1, a 2, and a 3. Really great scansion. Now, why am I even bothering to talk about this? Because you, my friends, you are the ones who are going to be creating a template of any given section that you write lyrically for a song. If that section comes back at all in the song, you've already created a template of what to do. Now, it can be tricky to stick to it, but when you really stick to the template you initially created, if it's fitting the intention of the song, it is going to feel so good to an audience. And it's part of what makes something feel both inevitable and also surprising. Like we kind of know what's coming, but we don't. In fact, if you do this like to a T, you can even end up mapping this out. In fact, I teach an entire lesson about lyric mapping inside the Flagship musical theater writing course, which if you're interested in taking a look at that and learning more about this and how to apply it as an analysis tool and a writing tool, then you can learn more about that course and apply by going to the link in the description below. Let's take a quick look at a couple of examples from my own work, so you can see how this has actually physically been applied to something other than analyzing something that's already been written. We're going to look at 2 quick examples here from The King's Legacy, my musical about Anne Boleyn and her daughter, Queen Elizabeth I. The first one is actually for the Queen before Anne, Queen Catherine of Aragon, as she watches Anne and her husband like really connecting for the first time. It's an AABA song, and our A sections are going to scan lyrically in a very specific way that is a little subtle, but once you notice it, it feels really good. I will sing the first A section so you can hear what it sounds like. Daily I sit and observe, watch as they all find the nerve to chase what they think they deserve. Yes, I see. Obviously, we can hear where the rhymes are sitting. We've got a triple rhyme A section with the hook I see at the end of it. But really, the thing that we are going to scan across the A sections is going to be having to do with who we're talking about. In this case, we've got these 3 lines. Daily I sit and observe, watch as they all find the nerve to chase what they think they deserve. Yes, I see. And really, the way that I thought about this as I wrote the lyric is that first line is going to be about I. The second line is about a they of some variety. And then that third line is about some sort of object of desire or an object of something else. So here, daily I sit and observe, watch as they all find the nerve to chase what they think they deserve. The thing they think they deserve. Yes, I see. Our second A section, ladies who want something more. She's a lady. Men, that's the them, seeking glory in war. The men whom I'll always adore. Ah, her object of affection. Yes, I see. And then we have a B section. We wrap around to our last A section. We have nightly I kneel and I pray, hoping to God you will stay. And it's not they as in the pronoun, it's you, meaning Henry. But knowing that soon you will break away because of the object of desire any day from me. So it was the I, the thing outside of her, the they, the them of it all, and then the object that's being sought after. And that one's a little headier, right? That one's a little more like, ooh, that's a zoomed out concept kind of one. But like it's an AABA course, it's a 9-second song and we're out. Let's look at one that's a little more specific. Henry has a song called Patience. This is his very big angry moment where he threatens and throws people out. So patience is something that's said to him a lot. Have patience, have patience, have patience. And eventually he's like, I'm through with patience. We have this lovely little ABAC 32-bar chorus. We have 2 choruses in this song with an interlude section in the middle. But we have, just so you can hear what the first A section sounds like, All I hear every day, Henry, patience, you and more, the Pope, the Queen, Henry, patience. Okay, that's the idea of it. So our A sections are talking about the banality of it all. Stop telling me to have patience. And it's also going to point at the who. Who is to blame here? Who's telling me to have patience? That's what the A sections are about. So that first A, all I hear every day, Henry, patience, I'm bored of it. You and more, the Pope, the Queen. It's a lot of yous. Henry, patience. When we do our B section, I'll get there in a second. Our next A section is going to do the same thing. Say again, right? Again, the repetition idea. Say again, what's the word? Thomas, a who? Patience. Go ahead, one more time, Woolsey. Again, same idea. And then our B sections, and that idea repeats in the two A sections in our second course as well. I'm not going to go there at the moment. Our B sections are about something a little bit different, and they sound different musically. Years and years I pray, now I will have my day. Now you can hear in that B, the B is a declaration of some kind. Years and years I pray, now I will have my day. It's a declaration. In our second chorus, that B section has, this is our goodbye, now go before you die, right? So it's a declaration of some kind. And then our C sections are slightly different. So the C of the first time through the chorus is, watch your step, for I've no more patience. So that's a different thing. That is, here's what I'm going to do next. Watch your step, for I've no more patience. There's a threat in that automatically. And in the second chorus, the C section is actually what gets extended here. No matter what the cost or death, I'll have my way, right? It is the threat inherent to whatever the action is that he's going to take, which he does not specify. So we have across each of the sections, whether it's an A section that happens 4 times in song, the B that happens twice, and the C that happens twice, they each have their own distinct flavor. And there is across just the sections a template from one chorus to the next. And what does that do? That makes it feel like we know what's coming, even though we don't actually know what's coming. For a guy who is very explosive and scary, it gives a kind of groundedness to the song that I think the audience appreciates while they see this very powerful man yelling in people's faces and threatening to kill them, you know. It's fine, everything's fine. But of course, this entire discussion relies on a fundamental understanding of what lyric scansion is at its most basic. But if you're not sure you fully understand those essentials or you want to revisit them, then you should watch this video next. Otherwise, thank you all for being here with me today, and I'll see you again soon. Cheers!